our respected chief guest, Sri Vayalar Ravi, respected Vice Chancellor, Pro-Chancellors, members of the Governing Board, members of the Academic Council, deans, directors, other members of the faculty, my dear students, distinguished invitees, parents, members of the press and media, very good evening to you. At the outset, let me thank my friend Mr. Vayalar Ravi, the Union Minister, for having accepted our invitation to be with us today, in spite of his busy schedule in Delhi. I am also happy that many of the graduates have turned up from various parts of India to receive the degrees in person. We are living in a country now which is growing very fast. I hope this year the economic growth rate may exceed 8%. If all the states do well and if all the sectors perform well, the rate of growth may exceed 8%, or it can reach 9%. Of course, our objective is to go to 10%. We are doing very well in the service sector. The companies in the service sector, the Indian companies, are expanding very fast, providing jobs to our educated youngsters. The intake in engineering institutions in Tamil Nadu alone has crossed 1 lakh, which is comparatively high above the seats available in USA. As a country, we are admitting around 5 lakhs of students in engineering. We have to impart quality education to our students so that they can be meaningfully employed immediately after their studies. Many of them have to repay the loans which they have obtained. I would request the governments, both central and state governments, to offer scholarships to a large number of students, not only for professional courses but also for science and humanities. At present, around 8% of the relevant age group of our Indian students have access to higher education. This percentage have to go up considerably in order to become an advanced country. Except medical education, in all other areas, availability of seats is not a big problem in many states, but affordability is the real hurdle. Poor and middle class require the support of governments to get higher education. I would like the minister to do something in this direction. Manufacturing sector, which contributes around 20% of the GDP, has started expanding in the private sector. More and more FDI has to be ensured. Indian capital is also going out because our private companies have started acquiring companies outside India, particularly in Europe and other countries. We have to train our youngsters for the manufacturing sector, which has to be, which they have to go around the world. Agricultural sector has to be modernized. After Green Revolution, during C. Subramaniam's period, India became self-sufficient in food, and we discontinued the import of rice and wheat. Previously, we used to get rice from Thailand and Burma and wheat from Australia. At present, food production is not enough to cope up with the growing population. Productivity in agriculture has to be improved. Both in rice and wheat, per acre yield is lower compared to other countries. In fact, I was comparing with China. China produces 100% more than India in per acre yield in rice and 50 to 60% higher than us in wheat. It is a sad news that India is going to import wheat from Australia now. Our agricultural scientists, engineers and administrators have to put their heads together and increase the productivity per acre yield and also production in our country so that we will become self-sufficient again in food production. I would like to assure the Minister that VIT will do its best to increase productivity in this part of the country, even though we don't have agriculture as a subject. There is a close nexus between education and economic development. At present, about 1 crore of students are in higher education in our country. It has to be increased considerably in phased manner. The number of universities both in government sector as well as private sector have to be increased. In order to admit and train more students, more teachers have to be trained. Throughout the country, there is shortage of teachers, particularly in engineering, both at the master's level as well as at the doctorate's level. Financial support must be extended for training of teachers. Those who are doing masters and PhD in private universities are not getting any help from any of the government agencies. I would like to request the Honorable Minister to address this and do his best. In order to create a healthy competition and to improve the quality of education in our country, government should identify good universities and colleges and extend some formal financial help which can create a competition, and it will ultimately lead to the more quality in education. We have to avail the benefits from the international financial agencies like the World Bank in order to improve the infrastructure in our country on par with the advanced nations. Our graduates have to be trained for the global market. As I pointed out earlier, India's diversity coupled with demographic dividend, what the economists call demographic dividend, will go a long way in sending our youngsters to world market. We have so many religions, so many languages, so many habits, food habits, cultures, etc., which is in a way will be beneficial for our students to be trained here and go and serve in the world market. If we are not going to quarrel over small things like water or territory, etc., which should be used to our advantage so that this diversity will be very useful when they go out of the country. And again, India is the youngest country of the world, and with this kind of young population, which will be there for another 30 years, unless we grow now, we cannot grow after 40, 50 years. This is the period where we have to do everything, improve the quality of education, increase the appropriate training, and send our boys and girls throughout the world, and this is the time we cannot miss, and I would like you to take care of this. And our minister, in fact, I would like him to deliver his convocation address, which is going to be very eye-opener for us, because he has been serving politics, assembly, parliament in various capacities. In fact, I went to Parliament in 1967. He joined us in 1971. So it is more than 35 years. We are friends. And I would like to thank him on behalf of VIT that for spending the entire day with us. And again, I would like to address you. Before that, formally, I declare the convocation open. The university has been called to confer the MPhil, MTech, MCA, MBA, MIB, MSc, MS, BTech, BCA, BBA, BCom and BSc degrees awarded by VSC University upon the graduates who have successfully passed the examinations held for the purpose and have been certified to be worthy of the same. I now invite the Chief Guest, Sri Vailar Ravi, Honorable Minister of Overseas Indian Affairs, Government of India, to deliver the convocation address.